Oddworld Soulstorm is both familiar and innovative in the way it handles its level design. Abe is the same lovable idiot he's always been, except now it's going over his journey from survivor of a meat farm to saviour of his entire people. This is a responsibility he originally tries to get out of. However, when they're attacked while they're in their safe haven, things start to go a bit sour and Abe realises the journey he has to go on. Along the way, he starts saving hundreds upon hundreds of his Madokan followers and finds out that his movement is actually spreading all the way across the land. Soulstorm provides the same sort of atmospheric and dark kind of level design that the original Abe's Odyssey had, while also mixing in a couple of new things as well. The crafting system is absolutely fantastic, with Abe finding all sorts of different variables and different items located in things like bins and lockers and things like that throughout all these different levels, for him to be able to craft things such as landmines or rubber band balls to knock out sligs and try and peacefully get through the levels while knocking these enemies out without actually killing anyone. Although killing people is also an option as well, as you were able to craft things like flamethrowers and kill them that way. Or of course, there's always Abe's classic, possessing them and then going on a killing spree of other sligs, or making them fall to their death, which is always a fun one. There's something cathartic about taking control of a slig and killing him while he screams for his mommy. Their levels are as challenging as ever, with the sniper levels being the absolute worst. Abe has to run along a linear 2D level as he tries to avoid the sniper fire, and you'll know exactly where they're aiming by the red laser that's going across the level. There's all sorts of different ways you can conceal yourself. The covering system is absolutely brilliant. They can shoot through brick walls. If you find some sort of smoke, you can hide inside there. You can even try and get past enemies, as sligs and things throughout the level will not be able to see you while you're in the gas. Another new mechanic that they've added into the game is being able to tie up knocked out or sleeping sligs and loot them for any sort of resources that they may be holding. You can pick up absolutely useful items by doing this, such as crafting materials, and be able to actually fight back against the evil sligs a bit more. Familiar gameplay is exactly as you would expect. Find different Madokans throughout the level, get them to follow you, and then take them to bird portals and use your psychic powers to open up the portals and get them to safety. This time, instead of saving maybe 3 or 4 Madokans in a single level, you'll be saving hundreds upon hundreds of them, with different parts of the levels involving you taking out sligs or distracting the sligs, while hundreds of your Madokan followers climb to safety, and you try and get as many of them to get to safety as possible. And you're not going to save all of them, because it's almost impossible, because the sligs are very, very quick, and they have machine guns and things like that can kill hundreds of these Madokan followers in one go. But you'll definitely have to try and save as many of them. There's usually about 300 of them in this sort of section. You might walk away with 100, or at least that's what I've been walking away with. But overall, you know, it's that sort of familiar gameplay that makes Abe's Odyssey what it is, that's virtually unchanged in Soulstorm. The level design is absolutely fantastic, because you've got these sort of warehouse levels just like in the original Abe's Odyssey that really harken back to Rupture Farms. But at the same time, you've also got these new innovative type of levels, such as, for example, going across a moving train and trying to take out the sligs on there while saving the Madokans that are on this train that you're actually attempting to hijack. The graphics are absolutely beautiful, especially during the cutscenes, and the voice acting really complements it and really brings it together. Abe and his Madokan followers are these lovable idiots that they've always been, and you really want them to succeed. You know, even the smaller characters, you're quite sad when some of them are killed off, and Abe himself is this sort of reluctant hero, really thrown into these situations, knowing what he absolutely has to do, even though you get this sense that he really does not want to go through and do what he has to do. But again, it all comes together to make Abe and all of his followers these sort of underdog heroes that you really want to get behind, and the voice acting and the graphics really complement that. The expressions on their faces are so emotive that you just can't help but root for them. Although the game isn't perfect, it's definitely got its share of bugs. For example, one of the biggest bugs that I've found is when you give an order to your Madokan followers and they will sometimes just be completely unresponsive. I had to leave about 5 Madokans behind on one level, because no matter how many times I told them to follow me, the game just did not register that there was anyone there to actually take that order. It was right after one of those sections where you have to save hundreds of Madokans from the sligs, and there was absolutely no way I can get these guys to safety, so I told them to stay put while I dealt with the slicks. And then once I did, and I went back over to them to tell them to follow me, they just stood there unresponsive and didn't move. The game just didn't register that they were there, and that is an absolutely big problem. There have been other issues as well where I've got myself stuck in places where I really shouldn't have got myself stuck. For example, running off a ledge, and instead of dropping down to the next floor, Abe just sort of ran in mid-air and I couldn't do anything. I just had to exit out the level and go back in. But it's really irritating when stuff like that happens, especially when you're really sort of moving forward on the level and you have to go all the way back to your last checkpoint, which often isn't that far back, but it will set you back so far, especially when you factor in the times of getting out the level and getting back in the level and stuff like that. You know, things like that are really irritating. There's issues as well with Abe not grabbing ledges, and I know that they put out a patch for this specific issue, but it still happens, at least as far as I'm concerned. You know, Abe will often miss his ledge. You jump straight onto a ledge, and he, instead of grabbing it, he'll just fall straight back down, and it's an issue that they've tried to patch out, but it absolutely still exists in this game. The soundtrack is absolutely fantastic, even if there are a couple of level balancing issues. The music is dark and ominous, which is exactly what you need it to be, especially when you're being chased down by the blimp. The music gets really dark and it gets really tense, and it really puts over that sort of atmospheric kind of, it's dark and calm in a sort of way that fills you with dread, but at the same time it has a sense of urgency about it as well. So the soundtrack really complements the game. Overall, I'm really enjoying Oddworld Soulstorm. The game is far from perfect and there are far too many bugs. I definitely think this game should have been in development just a little bit longer to get out the amount of bugs that are in the game. There's a bunch of bugs as well that I didn't actually talk about in this video that I've come across. So the game definitely could have done with a bit more development time, but for what it is, it's definitely really enjoyable. If you haven't actually downloaded it yet, please do so. It is at the time of recording this video, it is still free on the PlayStation Plus for PS5 owners. So if you have a PS5, it's definitely worth downloading. If you don't have a PS5, it's absolutely worth the price. The game itself is an absolutely brilliant follow-up to Abe's Odyssey. It's kind of a spiritual successor for Abe's Exodus, which was the original sequel for Abe's Odyssey. So they've kind of taken a few elements from Abe's Exodus, but it's not necessarily a remake of it. The story very much deviates from that, but in a way that really sort of adds to the lore and adds to the world building up that is Oddworld. So if you are a fan of Abe's Odyssey, or you're just looking to dive into a series and the clips used in this video really appeal to you, I definitely recommend downloading it, because with all the flaws of Soulstorm, it's absolutely definitely still worth the price. So, I've been James the Thunder. Please drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know, have you been playing Oddworld Soulstorm? Let me know your thoughts and your sort of experiences in the comment section below. If you haven't played it yet, let me know. If this video has helped change your mind, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Follow me over on twitch.tv/James the Thunder. I've also live streamed Soulstorm as well, which is also on this channel. That should be showing up on screen in a minute. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
You know, I mean, we did kind of lose a lot of good guys back there.
Bunch of idiots couldn't stop one stinking slave.
Well, a little harsh maybe, boss. I mean, I know you've been working your whole life to retire on one of those mega luxury air yachts and all. And I noticed Abe guy burned that dream to smithereens. But maybe we clean this all up and you can still afford one of them economy models. You know, you buy it used off of E-Crappy.
Get us to Slick Barracks. Do it!
Of course, boss. I'm trying till I'm dying. We're gonna bring this puppy home. We are gonna bring this puppy home.